Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Aileen Ponce Horta. Ponce Horta was found stabbed to death on Friday, February 15, 2008 in the 400 block of Civic Center Plaza in Pomona, according to LA County coroner records. Joseph Gary Horta was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. At trial, the evidence established the following. In mid-January 2008, defendant Joseph Horta moved into an apartment rented by his cousin Nicholas Horta, his wife Aileen, and their child A. Soon after defendant moved in, he and Aileen began an extramarital affair. Nicholas suspected the affair and asked defendant to move out. Defendant moved out but continued the affair with Aileen. On the morning of February 12, Aileen drove Nicholas to work in their maroon van. Later, Aileen called her brother Ricky. She was crying and Ricky could hear defendant's voice in the background. She told Ricky that defendant was acting crazy and had called her a slut. She told Ricky she would call back in 30 minutes, but he didn't hear from her. Later that evening, Aileen was supposed to drive Nicholas home from work. She didn't show up and he took the bus home. Aileen was not at their apartment or at her parents' house. Aileen didn't come home that night or the next day. Each side presented conflicting evidence about the activities of defendant, Aileen, and A on February 14th, the day Aileen was killed. The prosecution offered testimony from defendant's cousin, Albert Sandoval. Albert testified that around noon, he saw defendant driving Aileen's van in the alley behind Albert's parents' house. Both defendant and Albert parked in the driveway. Albert's girlfriend, Jacqueline, came outside and also saw defendant. Albert went inside the house for a few minutes, leaving the keys in the ignition. When he came back outside, he saw defendant was with A. Defendant told Albert that he was watching her. Albert walked around the van and saw what he believed to be a woman lying down on her back asleep. He could only see the woman from her knees down. He noticed her toenails were painted a bright blue. Defendant asked Albert if he could help him drop off A, and Albert agreed. Albert drove A in his car while defendant followed. They then drove to the house of defendant's aunt, Rita Horta. Defendant took A into the house. His aunts Camilla and Rachel were at the house. Albert then left without seeing where the defendant got back into the van. Later that afternoon, Albert found a bloody knife wrapped in a blue cloth in the trunk of his car. He gave it to Brenda Olmos to throw away. When Rita discovered A at her house, she was worried because she had never looked after A before and A looked disheveled and dirty. In the evening, she drove to Nicholas' apartment, but he was not home. Rita called the police, and police officers located Nicholas and reunited him with A. Nicholas filed a missing persons report for Aileen, and the body was found the following morning. In the morning on February 15, 2008, Aileen Horta's body was found inside her van in the parking lot of the Pomona Courthouse. The left side of Aileen's neck had been cut with a 4 to 6 inch blade, and her jugular vein and carotid artery had been severed by the wound. Because the body had been left in the vehicle, the exact time of death could not be determined. However, the coroner estimated it to be either in the morning or late evening on February 14th. The body was found wrapped in a blanket taken from defendant's father's house. DNA matching defendant's genetic profile was found in samples obtained from Aileen's body. There were no defensive wounds. The toxicology report was negative for alcohol or other substances. Following the trial, the jury convicted defendant of first-degree murder. Joseph Horta was sentenced to an aggregate term of 56 years to life. Aileen Ponce Horta was 22 years old at the time of death.